Hello. When undertaking due diligence for forest carbon projects for nature-based solutions, one of the key things that you are probably going to want to consider is the carbon density and carbon for your particular project sites. So there are a number of different ways to do this, but we understand that at the due diligence stage, when deciding whether to take a project on, really you're looking for a quick way to do a quick assessment of carbon density, how has that changed over time, and so all gives you an indication for the kind of carbon credits that you might be able to achieve from the project once it's in place. So in this video, that's what we're going to look at. We think that for the validation and verification stage, we wouldn't necessarily recommend this approach. Ideally, these biomass and carbon estimates would be tied with field data for your particular project sites. However, at the due diligence stage, where we're just looking for a kind of quick assessment, this is a really good way of approaching it. So here we are looking at some tree cover data, basically allowing us to remove anything that is not a forest. So understanding what's forest and not forest is quite important in this context. So again, using a kind of off-the-shelf data product to do that, to allow us to do that quick assessment. And then on top of that, we have got our forest carbon estimate there. So in this particular example, this one comes as a time series, so we can see how that changes over time. And we can also compare these 5 different project sites to see how the carbon density in each of those changes as well. So this is a time series, and this will take a minute to load up. In the meantime, we will go to the dashboard. So here we can see an estimate of the carbon content in either tons or megagrams per hectare, and we can see how this changes over time for the different project sites. So in here we have there is a gap in the data. Yet another reason why this is not the best data set for that, where your kind of accuracy levels and your quality metrics are really important. But here we can turn off some of these data layers, and comparing 2 project sites, one where the carbon density seems fairly stable and one where it's been going down over time. Again, all of this data can be exported directly out of Blox by pressing the download button, and either downloading as a spreadsheet or a PNG. So the time series has finished running, so we can now animate through this, and so we can get a good estimate of how forest biomass is changing over time for these particular areas. You can see that there. If we were to consider this for our own project sites, I can walk through that process for you now. So the first thing we want to do is to add an area. I am going to just draw a relatively random location onto the map. But you could upload your own polygons for your own project site. So I'm just selecting a random location nice and easily. Then I'm going to go to load project. I'm going to make sure we're on template projects and search for NBS. And if we scroll down, we can see that there are different methods for calculating forest biomass and how that changes over time. So we do have, depending on the different regions, there are different approaches that you need to use. So we've got different examples there. So I'm going to stick with Cambodia because we're still in Cambodia. I'm going to press open and then load without areas. I am then going to press run on the workflow. And so we now have some outputs onto the map. Again, we have that tree cover data set, which is allowing us to just look at areas of trees. And then we can see how this changes over time. If we go to the dashboard, we can see that, again, this area also decreases over time. So we would obviously want to be looking at other data sets to understand why that might be. Is it that over time the area of forest is decreasing? Or is there other kind of loss activities? But this gives us a good indication of what the carbon in this area is like. Thank you very much.